2023 spring regular season live from Berlin, Germany. It is do or die for XL in our opening game of the day, as a loss versus Team BDS would eliminate them from the spring split. The same goes for Team Heretics, who are facing off against SK Gaming later today. Only one spot is left in the group stage. These teams have everything to play for, and it will all be decided today. Every game counts. Hello, everybody. I nailed that. The timing was perfect.
Yeah.
I'm Shox, joined here by Jamada and Yamato. How fun is that?
It's fantastic.
It's a perfect. It's a name match in heaven. Yeah,
it's meant to be.
It's great. I love it, and I know your analysis is just gonna mirror how awesome you both look today, especially you, Yamato. Although apparently there's a case of lost pants somewhere, but this was obviously the first choice.
I just came from the streets straight into the LEC.
Yeah.
Repping it.
And I just got my boba. Thank you, SK Gaming, by the way. They were handing them out. You can buy our love. That's just the way it works. But you can't buy a spot in the group stage. So let's take a look at the standings before the final 5 games. And we see that not only XL is in a do-or-die situation. The same goes for Team Heretics. They absolutely need to win. And since I have 2 analysts here with me, Jamada, why don't you kick us off and tell me how Team Heretics is going to stay in the race? They have to beat SK later in Game 3.
Yeah, so it's not going to be easy. SK 4-4, so they've also been quite turbulent, but I think for them, the key for Heretics is about putting Jankos and Mirza on engaged champions together and actually having them be on the same page. I feel like when you actually take a step back, look at all of their games throughout the year, they've looked the strongest, they've looked the most consistent, honestly, when you've got Jankos on someone like Wukong or Vi, and then you've got Mirza on something to back it up, like the Rakan or Nautilus or the Leona, just so there's follow-up in the engage, and that will set the foundation for the rest of Team Heretics in a lot of mid-game team fights.
I think the key thing is just what you said in terms of just having active buttons that really support this idea of them grouping together. Anything that they can throw at the same target that really rallies this team is the most important thing, because they seem so disjointed as the game continues. As long as they are on the same screen, they have the buttons to support it, they seem to do so much better.
You say this all the time when you're on LEC, Yamato. You have to be on the same screen at the very least, but actually it's a crucial ingredient to success. Jamada, here we see a couple of team compositions. Do those signify kind of what you want to see from Heretics in order to win?
Yes, very, very much. Like I just feel like Jankos has been performing so well generally anyway, and I feel like when you break down and you look at some of the team fights, a lot of the time he's the one that's going in first, and either he's kind of a bit 1v5 until someone backs him up, or we have the positive looking games like we have in these drafts where you would have Mirza immediately follow him up with the Rakan engages, or have Leona, throw a solar flare over the top with the Vi. So I think to me, that's just the first step, right? That's how I feel like Team Heretics look the strongest, and I think at the very least some of it can be band-aided from drafts like these.
A question, if Jankos is playing so well, and he is, it's actually incredible how he's doing in a team that's not doing well, why not the other way around? Why don't you all make sure he is in the best position that he can be?
Yeah, I think it's just that the meta is rather stale. I think there's cases where teams would want to pick Maokai, would want to pick Sejuani based on the bans that come your way. I think that in the cases where he has the Vi and Wukong, these are champions that make everything a lot more streamlined, and he's the one, in control. He's the one that can fire off the first, charge, and he can find the right engages. And I think when that is the case, when Jankos in the communication can dominate, then it just seems so much better listening into Team Heretics' voice comes in the videos that they post.
I'm sure it will. For the side of XL, Yamato, I'm going to put you... It's too bad, because I'm going to put you on the hype train or on the comeback train or whatever you want. They are up versus BDS, though, in the first game, but, how did they make it?
So I'm trying to think of what is unique. What makes XL stand out? Well, they have an LCS champion. Abedage, the LCS champion. He was in 100 Thieves, and he has this unique thing about him that he is the LCS champion representing, of course, here in the LEC. He is the only one besides Perksiniski that has won the LCS. That makes him so damn unique. I think he played quite well in the 2 games. I think it was a tough task to come in so late. They are suffering from illness too, but I think he's done decent. Another thing that stands out to me...
That sounds great. He's done decent.
He's done decent, Another thing that stands out to me, maybe Xerxes has been holding back on us for so long. When he came into the league, he had this long hair. He was on Unicorns of Love. He was playing Ivan. He was playing Zac. He was playing Warwick. Maybe he's been keeping his secrets up until this final point.
This would be the day.
Final day curveball. It would be the day, but I just feel like, and Yamato can probably attest for this, when it comes to junglers and the meta being so stale as a whole right now, pushing new ideas specifically in the jungle is always kind of tough because it's not just about getting the pick to work, but you also have to have all 4 other members be used to playing with an Ivern or playing with a Zac, so it's not always easy.
Yeah, okay, considerate of the rest of the team, but something is going to have to happen for Excel, and their opponent today is Team BDS, who would lock first place with a win tonight, as we got to talk to Adam in a special behind-the-scenes interview.
My mindset is just, I just need to play video games. As long as I can play, to be honest, I will be happy no matter what, no matter in which condition you put me. I just need to make sure personally that my mindset is at the right time, at the right place.
I think Adam is a player that works a lot on confidence. So if he's confident, I think he will smash everyone. And for example, when he just say in draft, just pick me all up here blind, and I know that he's really confident and he will make it.
Oh, the blast cone! The assist, Under's coming in, the blast cone helped him out as well as the Empress Divine is used, but Reckless has already fallen. Adam on the backline is just absolutely murdering people, mutilating, shredding them!
May be able to actually set him a kill with the help of Shio. He's inside the shot, flashes over the wall, flashes more, knocks in, guillotine! Adam!
Just the arrow dodges everything, but not! You can't dodge these! Adam chases them down! Humanoid, up next, no escape from the undertow. Adam with a double. Now in a 1v4, he's looking to make it a triple. Adam brings down the X, takes the solo kill in the top lane.
I always had, this kind of dream of being a doctor, I kept pursuing it until I got to a med school. But back in the days, I was already challenger. I had to make a choice between both of them. I chose video games over my dream. People, speak about professional player, but only actually professional player know what it is to be like a professional player, like the kind of routine. I come to office at 11, I need to leave at 10 in the evening, so I'm staying like 11 hours in the office every day. I'm not complaining, some people may think that it's not light enough, but of course, like when you say that when you go back home, you still need to do solo queue. So basically, as a pro player, you need to talk 13, 14 hours per day, League of Legends, and the rest of the time you just sleep. To be honest, it suits me. As I said, like as long as I can play League of Legends, I will always be happy no matter what. Every pro player aspires to be like at the highest level, so in LEC, and if you fail your entry, it can be the end for LEC for the rest of your career. This is a shot that you really don't want to miss. You need to be more mentally prepared than physically prepared to enter the LEC. Especially from my perspective, I just spent my first professional split in the LFL. I won it and I won EU Masters as well. I left my heart team, which was K-Corp, to join this prestigious organization that was a Fnatic, and I happened to go to Worlds to finish second in the LEC. So just a living dream, to be honest. But when I left Fnatic and I joined BDS, I ended 9th, and then I got demoted into the academy. It was mentally really challenging moment for me, but I knew that as a player I deserved better, and I knew that I could do better no matter what. As I said, my mental will always be ready no matter in which conditions, and I just had to stay strong in this moment. I'm like a big, I would say, motor for how the team work, especially in the communication. A lot of what we do depends kinda on how good I am in the game. No matter what, I need to make sure that I'm in a good spot to be able to help my teammates, especially with such a young team with not that much experience. And they have camaraderie. Everyone appreciates each other so much in this team. Everyone is happy, to go to the office every day to scrim. So this is already something that we need to be really proud of as a team. Everyone enjoys each other's company, but I think it depends more on ourselves. But now, as a team BDS, we're like battling against ourselves, against the fear of not achieving something, and this is something that we need to work on. Because if we win against ourselves, then we'll go really far.
What a beautiful content piece featuring Adam and BDS. And what he said there really hit home with me, because in covering the league for so many years, you do often see players that have a start that isn't ideal, even though it should be on a good roster or on a good team. And not everyone bounces back from that.
No, the work is very brutal. In the end, there's only 50 spots, and there's 10 in each position, and all eyes are on you when you join into the big league. For Adam in his career, everything was going his way, and he joined the LFL, won EU Masters right away, and he had this thundering start, joined Fnatic, worked with us, and in the beginning he had this ego about him because everything kind of went right. And I think always when you go through that process of falling down and rebuilding, you get that chance to really reevaluate yourself. And I get this impression from Adam, from just working from him, I get this impression that he's a lot more mature. He's a lot more aware of the things that are important, but he has kept that flair about him, that he managed to still pick those unique picks and find dominance through the top lane, but he has found ways to connect more with his teammates. And as his former coach, I'm very happy to see that.
It's awesome to see indeed. And with that, BDS could in fact be first place at the end of the day. Astralis could be right behind them. And I wanted to take some time to talk about these two teams, Yamada, because you know, both of them are huge surprises in terms of ending possibly that high in the standings and in the, I want to say, promise and development they have shown in spring.
Yeah, you know, I said earlier that in the rehearsal that they held hands at the bottom of the standings.
Yeah.
Now they're holding hands at the top, and I think it's definitely been an excellent rise. I think for Astralis, right, changing out they got 4 leaders really sort of brought a certain level of stability that I feel like the roster definitely needed.
It's weird because stability, even though it's a player like leader, right?
Yeah, and that's the thing that everyone's still kind of getting used to, because I think along the same vein as Adam, honestly, we've had leader come back into the LEC, and we can kind of see that he's matured a lot in his time away, and he's become a bit of an IGL for everyone here at Astralis. And even though they have, you know, experienced players like Finn, like Kobe, it seems like he was the kind of player required to sort of also enable 1-1-3, because when you're a jungler, normally you're either working the most with a support or you're working the most in the mid lane, and it seems like those two particular as well have really teamed up and almost enabled each other.
100%. I just feel like 1-1-3 already in the previous split was playing so invade heavy. He always wanted to press the advantage and express himself mechanically with the Viego pick. And I think from watching Leader play over the years and also in Champion Q most recently, he always is attracted to volatility wherever it happens, whether it's in the top side or in the jungle or in the bot side. And I feel like Astralis in the jungle and in the bot lane were very good at creating this, and Leader is kind of connecting and kind of completing this identity of Astralis.
It's working out really well. 1-1-3, of course, also played in the LFL. And when we look across to BDS, the other team at the top of the standings, a whole core coming from the LFL in general. And it just shows that sometimes if you have some prior communication, or if you have been worked together or even played in the same league in general, and you put the right focus on it and get the right coaching, that you can really evolve to a new level. And I feel like BDS rather is a good example of that.
Yeah, and you know, BDS, the core that's come up from the LFL, they were effectively the best players in the entire of the ERL system, forget just France. And it's working out well for them. I feel like the fact that Adam is also being enabled in this way where he can still pick his very flary picks like you mentioned, but also he's now being very normal in the playing tanks and actually enabling the rest of his team too.
And they are playing from their team facility today, but they have sent replacements for the team arrival shots.
Oh.
Let's see. Okay.
I'm kind of scared.
Me too. Because it's already always wacky, so.
Nice.
Awesome.
Damn.
I like it.
I just wanted to play Lee Sin, Trash, all of the mechanical stuff.
Exactly. It's going to be great. Thank you for that, team BDS. In general, though, you have the LFL core, and in rehearsal, you guys were also talking about kind of the influence that Crowny can have on those young players.
I think Crowny is also one of those guys that has had a very similar story to Adam. You know, he's been slotted into teams like almost at random, and he's always, you know, from talking to him, always fighting. He always told me that he deserves more, and I feel like this year has been this really, really redeeming chance for him, especially together with Labro, because they played together, in fact, in Vitality, together with Leader. And I remember back then, they were just kind of passengers on this self-made Leader train, and they weren't talked about at all. But now they've pretty much cemented that they are a core part of the identity of BDS.
It's so interesting to me. BDS with newer players, younger generation as well, that they're at the cusp of locking first versus an Excel that has such a wealth of experience, but just can't seem to put the puzzle together. Is this the day that it happens? It'll have to for Excel. Let's get into the game.